Welcome to the Lindsay and Tony podcast, where we talk about spirituality, business, and life experiences.
In this podcast, we're bringing our private conversations to you.
We believe that it's through discussion, action, and reflection that true change occurs. Hello and welcome to episode 22. This episode is all about energy healing. It's called You Are Experiencing Energy Healing Every Day. This episode is all about the power of energy healing, how it can benefit your life, and how you experience it regularly throughout your day. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hi guys, welcome back. Today's episode is coming to you from Norwood, Massachusetts. We are currently in Massachusetts at my parents' home, and we are talking all about energy healing today. So energy healing is a very powerful thing. I feel as though it's underrated. There's so many benefits to energy healing, and I feel like sometimes we do it and we don't even know it's actually happening. So I kind of want to start with Tony, because there is one story that he has that's connected to his nephew, and it's a perfect example of energy healing.
It is, and energy healing sounds crazy to me. I mean, it doesn't now, but it would have back then. Because when this happened with me and my nephew, and this has happened several times, especially with animals with me, which I'll get more into that a little bit later. But this was back in like 2010, exactly 2010, actually, I think in the summer, or maybe spring. And I was out at the playground with my brother Mark, my nephew Mason, and then my other nephew Chase, I believe. No, maybe Chase wasn't there. I think it was just me, Mason, and my brother Mark, actually. And we were playing basketball. And, you know, we were right after we finished playing basketball, we were going to go back inside to go get some food. And then my nephew Mason fell down and hit his head. And naturally, I went over to him and I put my hands on his head, and I just started feeling heat come out of my hands. And I just started to like feel, like I could feel it right now actually, as I'm doing this. And then within, I'm not lying, within 15, 20 seconds, like very quickly, he looked up and he said, "Tony, I feel better now." Because he was like real little then.
Yeah,
he's about 13 now. I lose track of time actually. I think he's 13. And so back then he was 5, you know, he was young, 5 or 6. And he looked up at me so cute, I can remember it still. And he was saying, "Tony, I feel better now." And at the moment, I didn't realize what I was doing. I believed in the law of attraction and I was like highly aware of it. But energy healing and what I was doing with my hands, it was just like natural. It was a natural thing that I did without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't figure out about energy healing until I met Lindsay. Actually, later that year I met Lindsay, and that's when I started to get in tune with energy healing.
And for me, I had never heard of energy healing. I went to Catholic priests to go to get healings. And I believe Reiki, energy healing, same thing. We were just talking about it, what to title the show, and Tony's like, it's just a word, which is true. It's just a word. But I really didn't know when I was getting healed by the priest that it was the same as an energy healing from someone that's a Reiki master or anything like that, or just any normal person. You don't have to be labeled a priest or labeled a Reiki master to have energy healing coming from your hands. This is a natural thing.
Exactly. Like when I was doing it, I was living in a mobile home park at the time, and I was trying to build up my lawn care business, and somebody's calling me.
And it's a message from heaven.
And
which is so funny because we don't have an actual house phone in Tampa.
Who has house phones anymore? Your parents have house phones?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I knew they did. But anyways, what was I getting at with that?
So you were saying, okay, you were living in a mobile home park.
Oh yeah, so I was just a regular person, you know, 23 years old at the time, and living in a mobile home park, didn't have any labels on me. I was trying to create, and I was trying to figure out who I was in that moment, you know, and my whole point is like, anybody could do this. It doesn't matter if you're a construction worker. Yeah, people do it. Like, whether you know it or not, you're doing it. Whether you like put your hands on your nephew's head like I did, or whether you looked at a picture on Facebook and you felt love coming out of you, and you're looking at that Facebook picture, you could send energy healing through your eyes.
Right. You can. And that's actually pretty interesting because that was like one of my first couple of experiences.
Share that.
Okay, so first of all, if you've ever fallen down, naturally you put your hand on your knee. If you've fallen down and hurt your knee, you just gravitate to putting your hand on your knee. It feels better. And it's true, like Tony said, there's energy coming out from your hands if you're really aware and you know that there could be a temperature shift. You may even feel tingling on your hands. If you take your hands right now and put them in front of your face, 2 of them, maybe put them a couple of inches from your face and imagine energy, and if you have to see it as a color, coming out of your hands, you can activate that energy and really focus in on it and feel that tingling sensation. No, it's not in your head, it's real. But for me, when I first discovered Reiki, it was from a friend of mine. Her name is Melissa. And I was going through the loss of Nick, and she said, can I come over, and hang out? Do you want to meet up? And I said, fine, okay, come over. I didn't want a lot of people around me, but she came over, and she said, can I do something for you? And I said, what is it? And she said, it's called Reiki. And she started to give me energy healing, and she started, I think, at the top of my head and then went down, and I could feel all of this love and this heat on my body just from her. And she wasn't even necessarily touching my head. You don't have to touch anyone. You can do it above your head, or you can do it on top of your arm, or whatever it may be. And there were different points she was touching my physical body, and then other times she wasn't. But I felt the energy flow and run through me. I can actually feel it now thinking about it.
I could feel it right now.
Could you?
I could feel her love that she had for you in that moment, sending it to you. And that's special. You got to keep those friends close.
Yeah. And she did that for me.
It's a beautiful thing. As Lindsay was just describing it, I don't know if any of you felt that, but I literally, I was watching it happen in my imagination, and I felt it coming out of my heart throughout my body, and I felt like I could feel like I was feeling Melissa's energy go into yours. Mm-hmm. That was amazing.
Yeah. Tony's so sensitive, energetic.
I feel like all these viewers are too.
Yeah. But you do a good job of feeling,
Yes.
And so she did that for me, and I thought, this is amazing. I want to learn how to do it. So she attuned me. So you can actually attune someone like you're tuning an instrument, So she attuned me. She put the Reiki symbols inside my hands, which, I believe is important. I feel like there's words that are emotionally charged. I believe symbols are emotionally charged. I also believe, too, that sometimes when I'm doing energy healing on other people, whether it's in person or distance, there's moments where I'm like, oh, where did this come from? And I just feel like my hands do something. I don't know what kind of symbol is happening, but I'm just trusting the flow and the movement that I'm feeling. Another thing that can happen is a lot of energy healing can come from your throat chakra, so the energy point in your throat. Your words is a form of energy healing. Chanting. I know for me when I do... Oh my God, you scared me. He does that sometimes. But it actually is very healing for me, but I was not ready for that. I really feel like you were in a different lifetime. You were connected.
I always mess with her and I do that. I'll start chanting. She gets mad actually a lot of times just like that
No,
because it scares
sometimes
her.
It's very healing when you actually are healing me at the same time. Put your hands on my head. But if I'm not ready for it, it's annoying.
I'm a big goofball.
So, but I could actually feel the vibration coming from Tony when he's chanting, or he'll just come up to me and start going to my neck and just move energy or do something like that. And it's just a feeling. So there's points in our physical body, because we are living here on earth and we're not just a soul, we're a soul in a physical body, that we need to move the energy, that stagnant energy inside. So whether it's through exercise or different things like that, we got to move our energy. But energy healing is so important, especially if you are an empath or you're a psychic or a medium and you're constantly giving. You need to have that energy moved along and replenished, even though we can tap into an abundance of energy, but it's movement.
Exactly.
Don't you
Movement totally helps you. Because once
Yeah.
again, like I keep repeating on these podcast episodes, your body's your mind. Like I look at it as all one and the same. So
Yeah.
when you do use that movement, it helps you to tap into that healing energy that's always within you. And I feel like when I'm doing it, I start to breathe differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I breathe, and it's like I take the energy from my heart chakra,
Yeah.
and then it pours out to my body. I don't know if
Yeah.
everybody has that same experience, but I feel like that's where my healing energy comes from, right here, and then it goes out to out through my hand or out through my eyes. And I wanted to bring up another point too. Lindsay brought up how it's like instruments. Like when Melissa was over at your house, it was like she was tuning you to Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have two guitars in the same room, and if you hit the top string on one guitar, well, guess what? That vibration will go over to the other guitar as long as they're both tuned. And it'll make that top string on the other guitar vibrate as well.
Know that.
So I look at it like that when you got two people and you got one who's open to being tuned. Because that's a big part too. You have to be open to being tuned, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe no matter what, if you're around somebody that is in tune with Reiki, it's going to affect your energy. But the more open you are, the faster you will become tuned to it.
Yeah.
And I was going to add something else and I can't remember, so...
No, that's such a good point too. Yeah, it's very interesting how it all works. But I do believe that we are instruments. We're in a physical body. We are instruments to receive energy healing and movement. And we are vibrating at a certain speed. We can speed up that process if we add different things like energy healing or sound healing and those sorts of things.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was laughing about when I was chanting earlier. That scared you.
Oh my gosh.
But it's so interesting. For those of you who understand music and understand instruments, it's a good metaphor to look at. And it'll really help you understand. And if you sing, I feel like you're tuning your body to that frequency.
Sometimes
that
we'll
way
do
you
that in
can
the car. Like we'll be in the car or we'll be on a road trip, whether we're on a road trip or we're going down the street to like a restaurant, and all of a sudden one of us will start humming and chanting, and you could feel it, like you know what chakra needs to be opened, and you just start.
Should we do it for them
No,
real quick?
not right now.
We'll both go like, we'll just like both do it, and we'll just do it for like maybe 10 minutes straight, and then eventually we start to get in harmony with each other.
we
and it's
do.
like, it makes this weird sound.
I'm sure Romeo is
And
like,
we
what
start
the
to
heck
tune.
are my parents doing?
Yeah, he like looks up from underneath his curls in his eyes, and he's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, but it is fun. Yeah,
Speaking
so
of
you should
Romeo,
try that.
Speaking of Romeo, dogs are
Yeah.
one of the best. I don't want to say tool because that's like degrading.
Oh,
them.
he's not.
There
He's
he is
scratching
right
at the
there.
door. You can't get up. We're attached to the
Oh, poor
microphones.
guy. Yeah, we are. Sorry, buddy, we're attached.
That's so funny.
But it's funny. So it's
Comes
like
to
he's
the
coming
door.
to remind us, and he's this dude's a little angel. I have so much
he's
to talk
a-
about. We're actually going to do a whole episode about dogs. Now that I think
we
about
didn't
it,
yet?
we didn't
Oh,
yet.
okay.
About dogs. Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like animals will bring out your healing energy. They bring out mine. Like
Yeah.
I feel like when I see an animal hurting, especially online, I hate seeing videos when it's like, oh, look at this dog, and then I see it, I'm like, you can never unsee that again.
Yeah.
So then I'll just start sending healing, and it pours through me. I mean, with humans too, but I feel like, I don't know why dogs, like it's just like that pours through me when I see a dog,
Yeah.
or like any kind of animal hurting, like this healing energy comes to the rescue. And it's not even me. I feel like Tony Robbins would always say, when somebody's in pain or somebody's hurting, everything inside of him comes to the surface, and that's why he's great at what he does. Because somebody asked him, like, why are you so good at what you do? And he said that one quality. He said, because when somebody's hurting, everything in him shows up to help them.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's how I am with animals when they're hurt. Everything in me just pours out of me. It's a cause and effect. And I feel like Romeo, I feel like Romeo most of the time is vibrating at the highest frequency
Yeah,
he
he
can vibrate.
really is.
And that's why, like, anytime me and Lindsay are like, anytime he's still scratching
I
at the
know.
door. Anytime our energy starts to shift. Oh,
crawling.
poor guy.
Okay.
He's getting hungry. It's almost time for his dinner.
Okay.
But anytime our energy starts to shift, like, negatively, he, like, will leave from our side.
Yes.
And then, like, he's been my greatest teacher with that, because, like I struggled with anger growing up, and I'm way better now. But he's like an angel that was sent to me to even, like, help me get rid of it all the way. Like anytime I start to get mad about anything, I look over at him and he's looking at me like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, like he was watching the game the other night, the basketball game, and Tony didn't even say anything. He was on his lap. Romeo was sitting on his lap. And the next thing I know, I look over and Romeo left his lap, went to the other side of the couch. And if you're on my Instagram, you probably already saw that, but it was kind of funny.
It was funny.
Poor guy. So the biggest thing to know is there are so many different forms of energy healing, and people can promote this energy healing. Pets can promote this energy healing, but this is the thing that people want to know: where is this energy coming from? Since we are vessels to this, we are tapping into the universal energy. So there is a really interesting story. Something happened to me. It was when I was first tuning into Reiki, and I was brought to a hospital room. My friend's mom was in the hospital and in Miami. And I went there, and before she went to the hospital, I was at her house and I sent her healing. And it was something with her stomach was going on. I think she just had surgery and she was in pain. So I went to her house, then she was in the hospital. I went to the hospital, was giving her Reiki, but energetically I was so depleted. I was tired. I was there for a long time. So I said a little prayer and I said, please send me unlimited energy so I could help and give more Reiki to her. The moment I said that in my mind, I didn't tell anyone, my friend was talking to her mom that was getting the healing, and her mom spoke to her in Portuguese and said something to her and said, I didn't know what it was. And I said to my friend, what is happening? What is she saying to you? She said she saw a light coming from the outside, almost like a sunbeam. Wow. To me. And it was after I asked. And the interesting thing is when I said, please send me unlimited energy, I want to tap into that, I immediately got goosebumps and I felt like there was sun on my head, but the sun couldn't have come into that room. It wasn't sun from outside. So it was very interesting that it was happening at the same time. She was seeing it, I was feeling it, I asked, and the intention was tap into that universal energy and just become aware of it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you've told me that story before, but Lindsay has so many stories like this that I actually, until you just brought that up again, I actually forgot about that.
Yeah, I know. I forgot about it until I started talking about it.
And it made me realize two aspects. That allowing is the biggest part of this. Mm-hmm. It's the biggest part of really everything in your life. Allowing things to happen. Ask and you shall receive. Like that's you hear that a lot, but most people misunderstand that. And Tony Robbins would always talk about like ask intelligently and you shall receive. So you have to ask and then you allow. And then it brings up another point that Bob Proctor always talks about is that we don't get energy, we release energy. So keep that in mind at all times that we don't go out and we get energy. We have all of the energy that we will ever need locked in within us. And I say within us because we are connected to universal energy. Here's a little guy. He's got.
We're not going to edit this out because this is part of it.
No, he's
this
a little
is real
buggy.
life.
Yeah, he was literally scratching at the door. He hasn't done this in any of the other episodes. I mean, recently.
No.
But it's funny, we're talking about Reiki and healing energy.
I know, when he's trying
and this
to come
little
in.
healing ball of energy comes in. So I was telling them about how we don't get energy, we release energy.
Right.
So, like, I feel like that's what you were doing.
Yeah, I was. I didn't know it at the time, though. I kept on feeling like I was giving, and I'm like, oh, how am I going to get through this? But then something matched up, and it was like proof. I almost felt like I needed that confirmation.
Yes. And
at the time, because it was at the very beginning of me doing Reiki.
Right.
And Reiki was actually the very beginning of my mediumship, too. Because I felt like that was confirmation. Right. Remember how I had a story about the eyes?
Can you tell that again?
Yes.
Yes.
So I was in a Reiki circle. A Reiki circle is sometimes they have it at yoga studios where you sit around in a circle and you send Reiki to people across the room. And I was brand new to this. So they said, okay, send Reiki with your eyes. And I was thinking, how can I do that? I'm so used to knowing that, you have to do hands-on healing. And so I sent the Reiki across to this girl in front of me. And they said, if you ever pick up anything intuitively, you can tell the person after. So the moment I sent her Reiki, I got the feeling of a lot of sadness. And I kept on seeing a baby. And there was something else, like there was a significance with the baby and the healing energy and that sadness, but it was going to be okay. Like, I don't remember exactly what I got. I remember that was the gist of it. But I told the girl across from me and said, when I sent you healing, this is what I experienced. And she started to cry. And she said, actually, this is the day that I lost my baby. I had a miscarriage, and this was the day, the anniversary. Wow. And just from sending that energy healing with my physical eyes, I picked up, I tuned into her energy, because they gave us permission. You get permission to do this Reiki circle, and it was such an interesting experience, feeling that and knowing that we can tap in to that energy, that universal energy, and what we can receive from it with people's permission too.
Right. I love that story.
Yes.
So should we give them a few things that they can do to start tapping into that unlimited amount of energy within them, and then really use that to start healing themselves like they already naturally do? That was a great point you brought up about the knee or any injury you have. That's the first instinct. To hold your knee,
right,
and then it feels better. Why does it feel better? It's because you have healing energy that rushes to. It's like cause and effect. If there's a need for the healing energy that's in front of you, and then if you allow it to happen, to come through you, the healing energy will flood through you. Yeah. So I have something that you can do that's very easy. I know most of you scroll through Facebook all day long, like, most of us. Yeah. When you're scrolling through Facebook and you feel pulled to it, go to someone's picture and just put your hand over the phone on their picture and look at them. And start to tap into their energy and feel the energy coming out of your hand into their picture, into their soul, into their being. And that's a practice that you can do very easily from the comfort of your home. You
can ask the permission. You can say to their soul, is it okay if I send you healing, loving energy?
Right.
Instead of tapping into it psychically.
Yeah.
Sending love.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I don't usually message them and say, hey,
No, I know.
I'm sorry.
Soul.
I know what you're saying. Yes, I heard that wrong. He was looking me over here and then I was like, it threw me off. Yes, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, ask for the permission, for sure.
Because you're not trying to pick up psychic info.
Oh, no. It's not about that. It's more like what
meant.
I'll do is when I'm scrolling through there, I know to clarify for them.
Yeah.
When I'm scrolling through there, if I feel it. I was just doing it earlier today, and I just felt drawn to do this for this certain person. I had my hand over my phone, I could just feel it going through. And it was just like, all it is just sending them love and sending them healing energy, because people could feel it.
Yeah.
I had one of my mentors named Lloyd, he taught me this. He said people love to feel good energy. He's like, so anybody that you have problems with, for sure, start sending them love. Like, you'll see it in the Bible, send peace to your enemies. You'll see this written throughout all of history, and there's truth to it, because your enemies and the people that are your perceived enemies, they need the most love. And also do this to people that you love too, because people love good vibes.
Yeah. And this reminded me too, when you just mentioned the photo, I love that idea. Sending peace to your childhood self. So if there's a time in your life where you as a little girl or a little boy needed that extra love, if there's a photo that you're like, oh, I remember I was really sad that day, send healing to that time in your life. Healing is actually a past and present and future job. It's happening simultaneously. So any part of your childhood that's healed now can actually help your present life and your future life, the things coming up. So thank you guys so much for being here. We will see you on the next episode.
See you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.